Hi, Motheo. I'm Apiwe. Last December, I booked what I thought would be a dream family vacation through a popular site. I paid a big deposit, but when we arrived, the hotel had no record of my booking and no payment. That's when I realized I'd been scammed. How can I protect myself and spot these holiday scams before it's too late?
Apiwe, you're definitely not alone. In the rush of festive season travel, shopping, and year-end functions, scammers are becoming savvier. From fake holiday bookings to AI-driven phishing schemes, banks are seeing sophisticated fraud schemes targeting unsuspecting holiday makers. Welcome to Everything Counts, the podcast where we talk about money in a relatable way. Every 2 weeks, we dive into the real stuff, talking savings, spending, investing, and all the things that make managing money feel a little overwhelming. But here, we try to make it sound a little simpler. On Everything Counts, we give you the tips you need to know to get your financial ducks in a row. In this episode, we're going to tackle some of these emerging trends. I talk about how fraudsters are exploiting the festive season and what you need to watch out for when you're planning your holiday activities. My name is Motheo Khoaripe, and today we're helping Apiwe and families like hers stay one step ahead of holiday fraudsters who are already on the prowl. Joining me for this timely conversation is Kevin Hogan, Head of Fraud Risk at Investec, and Nomalizo Hlazo, Information Security Officer at Investec. Norma and Kevin, welcome to Everything Counts.
Thanks,
Motheo.
Pretty excited about this conversation because it is holiday time. It's festive season. We're all excited, looking for different travel deals, looking to rest. But this is the perfect time for scamsters, Nomalizo, right? Where they look out for us, getting excited, getting into the holiday season, clicking on things we shouldn't be clicking on. Why is it such a perfect time for them?
Well, Motheo, like you said, scammers know that there's a lot of excitement. There's lots to do. We're busy planning our holidays, planning our travel, and we're mostly distracted. And that's where they actually strike. They know that we have less diligent behavior. We're less likely to check on things that come to us, and they capitalize on that. Because we're so focused and we have time pressure and we're always multitasking. I mean, who doesn't love shopping and getting ready for the holidays? But we're all less likely to scrutinize information, and they take advantage of that.
Kevin, I'm feeling a bit cash flush. Probably got my bonus. I want to go away with the family for a treat. Why am I losing focus at this particular time of the year?
Because you're tired. Yeah, it's interesting thing because over the years, we've just seen it happen over and over and over again. Like Norma said, everyone just wants to book their holidays and get on with it. And potentially you're looking for the best deal. So you're going through the motions, you're tired, you're looking for the best deal, you just want to get it over with, and maybe you're not as vigilant as you ordinarily would be. And again, I know we were talking about it earlier before we started recording, you also start to get a lot of information thrown at you through sources that traditionally you never used. So you're using a lot of these new social media handles, things like that, where the guys are pushing deals, they're talking about things, and in a lot of these things, there's like links that you click on that reach you to other pages that you ordinarily wouldn't land on in the traditional sense. So there's a lot of this stuff that's going on that people wind up going through a maze and winding up at the wrong place.
Let's talk about those common holiday scams that we see, especially in South Africa around this time. How are these scamsters doing it? How are they tricking us?
Sure. So there's a whole bunch of ways, but if we focus specifically on the holiday scam stuff, a lot of fake web pages coming up. I know, for example, there was a ladies retailer that they had cloned their website. It was an identical clone in every sense of the word. You went onto it, it had the same logos, the same products, everything. They literally cloned it. All they did was lower the prices by like 40%, 50%. Ladies going to think, wow, this is really amazing. And you do your shopping, but then you start to see some of the telltale signs. One of those signs, which you mentioned earlier, is instead of asking for your credit card information in the normal sense, they now want you to do an EFT or an instant EFT. And all the alarm bells should be going off. So one of the issues is that there's a lot of clone sites out there. The guys are probably using Google AdWords, ranking those sites above the legitimate sites. I've seen it happen before. You click on these sites, you see these deals, and now you think, wow, this is really amazing. And you go for it. And all logic disappears because the price is now really low. And you end up paying the fraudsters, unfortunately.
Norma, a lot of us would like to think that we are vigilant. We hear about these scamsters every time, either from our banks. A lot of marketing goes into this to make sure we are more vigilant. A lot of law enforcement gives out warnings, but for some reason, we're still getting caught out.
That's because everyone likes a great deal, or what looks like a great
Who
deal.
doesn't like a good
Who
deal?
doesn't like a great deal? And social media is a big thing. We all on Instagram, all on TikTok, we see all these deals. We were talking about that earlier as well. You see something, it looks good, the videos look great, it looks like it's really something you want to get into, and you stop thinking because you want to travel, you want to relax, that beach picture looks great, and then you just go for it. Kevin spoke about the cloned websites. A lot of the time when we're going into those sites, we're not really thinking about what am I giving in this case. We want to buy the things at 40%. But actually what you're giving up is your username and password, you're giving up your credit card details, and it's not always about buying fake goods that won't be delivered. Sometimes they're just harvesting your information and they want to put it on other sites. They want to defraud you. So we're all busy trying to get the best that we can to relax, not spend as much money. A lot of us are trying to be prudent in this economy. So you are going to get more enticed by what looks great. And again, big red flag. There's always a false sense of urgency with any of these deals. A lot of us like pay now. If you see words like 50% sold, you need to do this now, click now.
2 rooms left.
Exactly. You have, get this deal today. Those are those items that create that false sense of urgency. And you feel if I don't do it now, then you're trying to do it while you're sitting at your desk, or you're doing it when you're quickly making dinner because, you want those 2 rooms. We're not going to look at it carefully. You're more likely to click, and then discover that you've actually been scammed.
There's also another aspect I'm thinking about, because my wife sent me a video that she saw on TikTok of a great holiday spot that came in at a very, very nice price. If you get information like that, a link, a video from someone you trust, it's likely that you're going to have your guard down sometimes because you trust that they've looked at it and they feel that it's safe to book, or this is definitely legit because it's coming from a friend that I trust. That could be another aspect where scamsters get lucky.
Yeah, that's true. People like to forward links, forward information. You assume that they've looked at it and then you also go ahead. But I think the responsibility sits with us. You need to just take a moment and look at what is actually happening. Is this too good to be true? It's usually a good sign. If they're telling you you're going to go to the beach for 1,000 Rand, maybe there's some questions to be asked there.
Kevin, are we at fault as well as consumers while looking for these deals instead of using the correct channels, the agents that we know, maybe probably even using our banks to book some of these holidays? We start doing our own things because we want to shave off 5,000 Rand.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone wants a deal. There's no doubt about that. I think we're all guilty of it. And there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But for example, you've got Investec Travel, which is a very secure place to do these things. You look at something there and then you decide, okay, maybe it's not for you. And then you start trolling the internet and you start to go through these things, you're eventually going to land on something dodgy. I always say to people, try and stick to the traditional, well-known booking sites. As soon as you start to scratch around for some of these deals, I've had so many of our staff, say, Kevin, I'm trying to book this holiday and they've sent me this invoice and they've sent me this, but I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And then when you go and look at the website, you can see it's a complete clone. It's not genuine. So there are some really good tools that you can use. So for example, South African Fraud Prevention Services has got a site called YIMA, yima.org.za. And you can plug in the URL for the site that you're on, and they'll give you a confidence score. They'll tell you, okay, this site's legitimate. It's been around for 5 years, all those different things. And it literally takes like 10 seconds to do. So rather maybe just do that before you commit. Some of these holidays are expensive, right? We're talking 100,000 Rand, 200,000 Rand. So if you land up on the wrong site or you give money away, you're going to lose a lot of money.
That's a lot to lose. So we're going to take a break, but when we return, we'll talk about some of the red flags we should be looking out for during the festive season.
Do you think you're too smart to get scammed? So did everyone else, until it happened to them. Protect your money with smart digital habits. For high-risk online transactions, use a virtual card. That small action makes a big difference. Pair that with a strong password and you've already reduced your risk. It's quick, simple, and it could save you a lot. Activate your virtual card today on the Investec app.
A card as international as you are. Your Investec private bank account is multi-currency enabled and tailor-made for you. A single account, one card, 4 currencies, unlimited rewards. Easy, seamless, intuitive. Whatever kind of person you are, and whatever your international needs may be, your Investec private bank account is multi-currency enabled and tailor-made for you.
Welcome back to Everything Counts. In this episode, we're talking about looking out for those scams during the holiday period. Now, Kevin, let's talk about the red flags we need to look out for. So what are the things that you can look out for as you land on a page to see whether it's legit or not?
Well, I suppose let's first debunk a myth. People assume that if a site is HTTPS on the top, that the site is legit and everything is good. And that is just not the case. Okay, the fraudsters have got secure sites as well. And so that is not an indicator that a site is good or bad. Okay, it will just lead you down the garden path. So I think, again, when we came back after the break, to just reiterate exactly what I've said, stick to the well-known sites. As soon as you start to literally go hunting for sites, you are going to land up on something dodgy. A lot of the time, the deals are not available there, but you need to decide which side of the which side you want your bread buttered on. Otherwise, you're going to land on a dodgy site. You should not be getting your advice or links and rerouting via like the TikToks and the Snapchats and things like that. If you just stick to the traditional stuff like Investec Travel, Booking.com, those kind of things, I think you'll be fine. But as soon as you start to stray because you're looking for a big discount, you're probably going to land up in the wilderness and get burnt.
Noma, you spoke about the pressure you get put under to pay very, very quickly. What are some of the red flags we should look out for before pushing send or pay?
One of the main red flags around payment is forced upfront payments. You should be able to take your time. If it's pay now, that's usually a red flag. It's best to verify with the provider, especially on large spends. Like Kevin said, your holiday could be up to 100,000. You really want to make sure that that deal actually exists, that hotel actually has that deal. Another thing, again, around the social media, you need to be very careful with links that you click there. But again, even on the sites that you think you know, you need to make sure you look at the URL. Is it the right site? When you've been redirected, check the URL. You do have scammers that redirect and have actually put some malicious code and it will redirect. Always make sure that as you're about to pay, you're paying to the right site. It is secured. It also just needs our own vigilance before you click that pay button.
Sometimes the legitness comes with the way the scammer will approach you. Something that looks like a legit email from a hotel group or from even an aviation company saying they've got flight deals. I mean, you've heard about flight deals from your friends. We're all going to sit and check whether we can get the best. And now I've got an email directly to me saying that our flights for the holidays, I click on it without even thinking twice. Another way to get you to get your guard down.
I mean, maybe let me give an example. So we've had a couple of clients. The scam that's going around at the moment is they'll phone you out of the blue and they'll pretend to be from SAA or Qatar or Flasaf Air, whatever the case is. And they'll say to you, oh, we've got these amazing deals. For example, the Qatar Air one was, if you buy a ticket a year in advance, I think it was like 7,000 Rand. And then they sweet talk you, they go through the whole process and you think this thing's completely legitimate. They then say to you, okay, we're going to WhatsApp you a link, click on it and then fill in your information. So send you the WhatsApp, you click on the link, it sends you to this fake Qatar site. It's got all the beautiful logos, it looks completely legit. 2 things have happened. Number one, you've downloaded a virus onto your Android device. That's the first issue. The second issue is you now to start to fill in all your personal information. What they then start to do is they keep you on the phone because that virus you just downloaded onto your device, they can now see everything on your phone. And they then say to you as part of this travel booking scam, log in, do a prepayment up front, but you are logging in. You are making the payment. You don't realize they can see everything you're doing on your phone because you just downloaded a virus. And now you think you're buying airline tickets and you've just given away login credentials to your phone, everything. So these holiday scam things, and it's rising now because we're going into the holidays. Something as simple as just clicking on a link on WhatsApp can just ruin you completely. This virus that's going around on Android and people don't understand it because it's quite new. And they're like, oh, how did this happen? It's like putting any desk on your laptop where someone can remote into your laptop and see what you're doing. They're doing that on your Android device.
So in the back end, they can see you type in your username, password.
Everything. And the scam started with an airline booking.
Ah, man, maybe that deal was too good to be true, Noma.
Yeah, I think the big part is that a lot of time when we think about scams, we think they just want to get you to book the deal. But actually, they want your personal information.
Correct.
They want what you're doing. Are
Agreed.
you logging into your banking app? Are you, whatever they're seeing, they want that information. And sometimes you'll think, oh, nothing has happened. But they're holding on to that information. The minute you travel, things start happening. One of the things I always say is people don't like checking their SMS notifications. It's a big thing to check your SMS notifications. One, it tells you if you've got some unauthorized transactions going on. Two, it helps you know if there's SIM swaps. When you travel, people SIM swap when you're not there because you're not looking at your SMSs. So we also don't look at the warning signs that something has happened, even if it hasn't happened immediately. Like, it's just one of those things. Try not to click the links that you're not sure of. If it's not authentic, a site that you know, just try to steer away from it. That would be my advice. Not that everything is bad, but just be diligent.
And also just listening to the messaging that will come out from your banking partner to say, look out for these scams. I know I always swipe past those messages, but as you say, we should be reading those, knowing what the latest scams are, making sure that we're more equipped to handle situations when we decide to do the holidays ourselves, right? So when we look at some of the ways to pay, Kevin, when we doing these transactions, what are the ways that we can protect our cards, our information as well?
Well, the payment method is probably one of the best tools you can use. Even if you land up on a fake site, if you follow these tips, the likelihood that you'll lose money is quite small. Okay, so let's talk about virtual card. So virtual card is not your plastic. Your plastic is redundant. You don't need it. Part of the problem here is traditionally we've put our plastic card number everywhere. So now we've got one card number and we're using it across multiple sites. So you now increase the chance of your card details being compromised. So what you want to do is diversify that risk and create virtual cards. At Investec, we allow you to create 5 virtual cards. So for example, I've got one called online shopping, online booking, PlayStation Store. My son's a gamer. I've got one for debit orders and subscriptions, one for Apple Pay. But the cool thing is that you can tell that card what it's allowed to do. So for example, the online shopping card or the online booking card is only allowed to be online. So it's switched off for in-store shopping, it's switched off for international shopping, it's switched off for ATMs. None of that stuff works. And then I can set limits. So I can set a limit of 5,000 Rand, for example, and then I go online and I book or I pay a deposit. If that card information gets stolen or whatever, the most they'll ever be able to steal from me is 5,000 Rand. Okay. And so you can play with those limits.
You even set a limit.
Correct. Correct. So you can play with those limits ups and down. I've lost count of how many people, they have their card details compromised on the Tuesday, their salary get paid in, they hit them on the Wednesday and take their entire salary. So it's a way to limit your risk. So please use virtual card to diversify your risk. It's really important. The other one that I really want to warn about people is something called Instant EFT. Now, Instant EFT in itself inherently is not a bad thing. The problem is it offers you no protection as the consumer. The problem with Instant EFT is you have to give away your online banking login credentials. You essentially give a third party permission to log into your bank account themselves and take the money that they need themselves. So A, you've given away your login credentials. B, you no longer have any of the protection that the credit card companies give you as a result of using your credit card. So if you use your card and there is non-delivery of goods, you get a guarantee that you'll get your money back. If you use Instant EFT, that is not the case. So sticking, especially with travel, just use your credit cards. It's the best thing to do. They are designed. You get the free insurance that comes with buying airline tickets. You get the full chargeback rights if there's fraud or non-delivery of goods. So all these sort of guarantees come with using the card as opposed to using Instant EFT. And the other side of the coin is, and you were mentioning it earlier, if you do happen to land up on a scam website, it's very likely they're not going to ask you to use your card. They're going to ask you to just EFT a specific bank account, which is a massive red flag. Okay, so you can use these payment methodologies to actually protect yourself.
And I mean, Kevin, the part on virtual cards and limits, I use that all the time. Sometimes I actually limit myself and I get to a shop and they're like, it's been declined. I'm like, oh, my limit is too low. And because you can do it instantly, it's in your control. You don't have to have a large limit and only change it once in a while. You can do it immediately. So it does give you a little bit more security around how much money can actually be exposed. So Kevin's right, it's a great way to manage your payment.
A lot of these scams are happening online, Norma. The digital hygiene as a person using phones, laptops and things like that, how important is that?
your digital hygiene is very important. Some of the things that we don't really actually think about that we need to pay attention to. So, for example, when I'm traveling, I never use free Wi-Fi. If I'm going to do my online banking, open my banking app, there is a lot of risk around that. So one of the things I'd give as a tip, when you're traveling, if you need to use your banking apps or log in online, use a secured Wi-Fi or just use your cellular network. That's an important piece because you're not sure when you're sitting free Wi-Fi who's actually on that network. So it's a very important thing to look out for. Another thing, we talk about the digital hygiene, but our actual digital hygiene starts with our cell phone. I think sometimes we don't think about just how much this device has of our lives. If you lose your phone or it gets stolen, the first thing you should do is let your bank know, because they need to delete that device before you do anything else. Because in those 5 minutes while you're scrambling to figure out something else to do, someone's in your app and they're trying to get into your app and trying to get to your account. So that's another big thing. We can be as digitally aware as we are, but if you lose your phone, most people are probably worried about, I can't talk to people on WhatsApp. But the first thing you should think about is, what is at risk? All my information. And again, information is key. You need to understand what's there, understand what new scams are out there. If you stay informed via Investec fraud alerts and educational content, information is power. So you will know if there's something new. If we haven't spoken about it here and it happens in 2 weeks, you will be aware and you'll be able to protect yourself from it.
So when you're traveling, one of the things you need to make sure that you've done is enable in-app messaging. So this is where you're getting all your transactional messages on your app. A lot of our clients switch off in-app messaging and rely on traditional SMS. The second you get on a plane and you leave the country, you won't get that SMS. Okay, so enable in-app roaming so you can get all your banking transactional messages, because that'll all come over data. So that's really important to consider. The other thing you might want to consider, we spoke about sticking to traditional or well-known sites to book your stuff. If you look at Investec Travel, obviously it's secure, it's behind online banking security, all these cool things, and you're dealing with the legitimate company. And if you're looking for a specific deal, it's not just the advertised deals that they're giving you. Ask them to say, I'm looking to go to this place, what can you do for me? That's part of their role, is to find you the best deal. And then at least you've got the peace of mind that you are dealing with a legitimate travel company that knows what they're doing.
A lot of people might be listening to this conversation thinking you've taken the fun out of holidays, myself included, but it's very, very important information. Just your final thoughts around protecting yourself and your money when it comes to booking holidays and just your behavior over the festive period.
Like Kevin mentioned, a lot of us, when we travel, our phones are off. We don't have roaming on, so we don't get SMSs. But one of the additional things we can consider is to actually have SMS roaming. That way you can see any other messages that are suspicious. For example, a SIM swap. Then you can actually take some sort of action while you're traveling to make sure that you don't get back home and your number's been assigned to someone else. Let's just try and consider those. It's not so easy, but try and consider that as an option.
I suppose the best advice I can give you is most of the toll concession companies have upgraded the toll gates to tap. So when you approach the toll gate, you can take your phone out and you can tap against, there's a big terminal on your right, or you can tap your card. Okay, tapping is great. If you arrive at a toll gate that does not offer tap, do not hand over your card. Rather pay cash. The black mag stripe on the back of your card, you'll know that you can see they swipe it through a reader. If they swipe it through a rogue reader, they're going to skim all your card information. Okay, so rather, if that specific toll gate does not offer the tap functionality, do not hand over your card. Rather than pay cash. That's probably the best advice I can give for travelers.
Norma?
Still have fun, but be diligent, be aware. It's less about not having fun and being super anxious about what's happening. It's just pay attention. Clearly, I love beach holidays. If you're at the beach, maybe just check your emails. Make sure there's no suspicious logins, that someone's logging in and you're not aware and you get those email alerts. Again, check your SMSs. Check any activity.
Because we tend to switch off from the world on holiday.
Exactly.
Right? You could be getting all these alerts on your SMSs and your emails. But because you're not paying attention, I'm on holiday, you miss out on some of those.
Yes, exactly. So it's not about not having fun. It's just make informed decisions about, should I actually check this? Should I do this? Should I not do this? But have a lot of fun, relax. We've all had a long year. Holidays are essential. So we're not saying don't have fun. Just be aware and be more diligent.
Norma and Kevin, as always, thank you for sharing your expertise with us here on Everything Counts. Well, the holidays should be about making magical memories with your family, but scamsters are also on the prowl. So stay vigilant and remember, in every decision you make, everything counts.
The views expressed are those of the contributors at the time of publication and do not necessarily represent the views of the firm and should not be taken as advice or recommendations. Investec Private Banking, a division of Investec Bank Limited, a registered credit provider committed to the Code of Banking Practice as regulated by the National Financial Ombudsman.